Welcome to Take Note. Today I want to talk about something small that has quietly changed how I read scripture. Words and names and repetition. Not in a technical way, not in a let me explain this way, just in a noticing way. For a long time, I read the Bible assuming I already knew what the words meant, or that if something mattered, it would be obvious. But slowing down taught me something different. Words in scripture are chosen. Names are given with intention, and small details often carry more weight than we expect. What surprised me most was realizing how often I had read past something simply because it felt familiar. I'd heard a passage taught, I'd recognized the story, and my eyes would move faster than my attention. But when I started asking simple questions like, what does this word actually mean? Or why is this repeated here? The text began to open up in quiet ways. One place I've been noticing lately is in Genesis 1. As I read, I kept seeing the same phrase over and over again. And God said. It's easy to skim past it, but when you slow down, the repetition starts to stand out. God creates by speaking. His words come before action. Creation responds to his voice. If you're taking notes as you listen, this is a simple place to practice. The next time you read Genesis 1, try circling and underlining every time you see, and God said. You don't need to write a paragraph. Just notice how often God speaks and what happens when he does. That repetition quietly shows us something true about God. He reveals himself first as a speaking God, one whose words brings order, purpose, and life. That way of reading has taught me that I don't need to figure everything out at once. Sometimes the most faithful thing I can do is pause, circle a word, and let the text stay open. In scripture, names work the same way. They're not just labels. Often they tell us something about a person's story, their role, or what God is doing through them. One name that stopped me in Genesis was Adam. When I learned that his name is connected to the word for ground, it changed how I heard the story. Adam isn't just a name, it's a reminder that humanity is formed, dependent, and created with intention. If you're still taking notes, you might circle the name Adam and jot formed from the ground in the margin. Paying attention to words and names helps keep me anchored in what the text actually says, not just what I've always heard it say. And that matters, especially if you spent years trusting interpretations without ever slowing down to read it for yourself, like me. If you're looking for a place to practice this kind of reading, I've put together a slow study through the opening chapter of Genesis called In the Beginning. It's designed to be returned to at any time, whether you're reading Genesis for the first time or coming back to it with fresh eyes. You can find it in the Take Note community whenever you're ready. Thanks for listening today. I'm glad you're here, and I'm grateful to be learning alongside you.